Wow, Shane Dawson's really got himself in another pickle, huh? Hello everyone, welcome, I'm Barbie Wire, and you're about to watch a video of a non-binary person complaining for about however so minutes.
If you hear noise in the background, I apologize. I was trying to record with none of my fans on. However, I live upstairs and in the south, and it's the middle of the summer, and it's the middle of the day, so I'm literally still sweating.
So, I apologize. So, you may have heard of the drama happening this week with Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. I just want to make a video regarding the drama and issues and critiques of these two celebrities from a non-binary person's perspective, also just my own perspective, because I feel as though I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for there to be some input from one of my other queer folk. However, I've yet to see it. If I'm wrong, I'll put them down in the description. So in this video, I'm going to be addressing the critiques and issues of Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star from a non-binary person's perspective. So, the issues regarding Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson have been pretty heavily and thoroughly laid out by my boy, D'Angelo Wallace. I love him. He has made 2 hour-long videos on each of these celebrities, and I feel as though they're pretty thorough, and definitely did inform me on many things that I was not aware of regarding these two. So instead of regurgitating all of that information, I am going to add in my perspective and opinion as a non-binary person regarding these two individuals, because I am deeply saddened by these two being just awful, terrible people, officially and forever cut off, because they were 2 queer people who were in the public eye, and now, once again, they have wrecked that. Let's begin with the old Miss Jefferson Starlight and Shanathan Shane, yeah. So first we have to address Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star, because I feel as though that's going to be a pretty quick input as to my thoughts. Mostly this is going to be a video attacking. I'm just kidding, I'm not going to be attacking. Mostly this is going to be a video critiquing Mike and Actor and responding to his issues with D'Angelo Wallace regarding Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, but we're going to get there. So, Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. It's always best to start out with the positives, so I'll do that. I suppose initially, what I appreciate about Miss Jefferson Star is their visibility in the public eye for so many years as a queer presenting person. Their identity has purposefully continued to be pretty non-categorizable, which I think is fucking cool, not gonna lie. I remember being 12, 13 years old and seeing Jeffree Star and just being so incredibly inspired, hopeful that, oh my gosh, there are other people out in the world who are also who are also incredibly queer. And it was inspiring for me as a poor person who grew up in a very impoverished area to watch a queer person build their own empire and build their own company and their own brand. And I'm sure that's a story similar for many people. Too bad I was only 12 and not able to recognize the white elephant in the room. But we'll get to that later. I did appreciate Shane when I was younger. I was someone who went and watched the vlogs on Shane's channel back in like 2011, 2012, whenever that was. I was watching Mama Dawson and Shannon and all of them get together and go out and eat dinner at Red Lobster or whatever. I remember that being very impactful. I was like, wow, this person lives a very full life and has a lot of fun, and also has issues with their own body image and with their own life choices and what they're doing. That's very inspiring to me. This seems like a real person. So I really believed in the Shane vlogs as very authentic, and also I was like 12, so I did forgive, or not even, I didn't even forgive. I don't think I was even able to recognize the serious issues with many of these vlogs, or many of his videos in general. Now, when I was a bit older, I started falling off of YouTube, and I started just being on the internet less. I stopped watching Shane Dawson because he stuck with his brand of comedy for much longer than I cared for. However, what brought me back were the Spooky Boys. You know, we loved Drew, we loved Garrett, we loved Shane going on all these adventures. They were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun, and it seemed like a natural progression from those videos to his documentary type videos and conspiracy theory videos, because he'd been making conspiracy theory videos for years. You know, I feel as though I personally saw the evolution of Shane Dawson from like 2014 to 2020. And I feel like that's very important to acknowledge the evolution of Shane Dawson, because to me, it did feel natural and it did feel authentic. It felt as though Shane was shedding some persona of his while he was evolving as a creator. However, that is not me forgiving anything. Now, that's just the things that I enjoyed about Shane Dawson and Miss Jefferson Star. I will get into my critiques of them later in the video. Because here's the tea. Jeffree was never poor. We'll get there. Now, for my critiques for Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, specifically that I have not yet heard really brought up, is very much so financial. So I am a person who experienced homelessness when I was younger because of my identity from, I was very ostracized from my parents, and that's not me trying to garner any sort of pity points or anything, that's just the truth of the matter, was I was homeless for a point in time and was couch surfing for months. So when Jeffree said in Shane Dawson's documentary about him that he that he used to be very poor, that he grew up in poverty, I related with him and I loved that. And then Jeffree takes us to see his 2-story apartment and in Los Angeles, and he said that the lowest he'd ever been down was $3,000, and I don't know, that's not rich whatsoever. That's not financially stable whatsoever. However, I feel this ickiness when he talks about it as if he was ever poor. No, never mind. Another one of my big issues was when he was talking about his concealer being stolen and his makeup being stolen, because he was talking about it as though it was going to be, as though it's going to be a financial crisis, as though it's going to put his company in danger. And then later we find out that the makeup was insured and also apparently, possibly, allegedly. Oh my god, I said the word allegedly. Allegedly, not even missing. We'll get back to that. Well, we talked about that before. And then goes on to talk about how, I don't know, I feel as though there is a lack of empathy or understanding for the people who would have allegedly done this and then sold it on Facebook Marketplace. That woman, Tessa, seemed to be a normal person growing up in or living in a lower middle class neighborhood from the Facebook post, it seems like. And I don't know, I respect the hustle, I suppose. It's just icky to me when rich people who have millions of dollars who have something stolen from them that is insured, that they're not experiencing any loss whatsoever besides time, is talking about theft and robbery as though is equal to if someone like me or you or a normal person was robbed, If we're robbed, the police aren't going to listen to us. Our insurance companies are going to take forever. It's going to be a very drawn out process, and oftentimes there's no justice regardless. So for Jeffree to make the video that he did and then cry seemed very manipulative to me, and also seemed as though he was playing the heartstrings a little bit, playing the smallest violin in the world. And Jeffree, my issues with Jeffree are that I feel as though I never really know where to stand, because a part of me really does want to love him and love his brand and love what he does. And I just keep being hurt by it, because every time that I try to give another chance or forgive regardless, I mean, of course, I'm going to continue to be critical. However, I do believe that people can change. I know that I certainly have changed as a person in the last 10 years, and I believe that Jeffree Star can as well. However, when you have a platform as large as you do, you don't have the option to continue with things being business as regular, with things like, you don't have the option to operate business as usual when the people who support you ask you to address something. And I think that's sort of my ongoing critique with Shane Dawson, is that, yes, I do believe he has changed as a person and since 2008, and I do believe that he needs to be accountable. And also, that live video really did present a side of Shane that I don't think many of us had seen. And I understand people operate differently when we're having anxiety or panic. However, I don't think that I would, downplay someone's sexual assault while having a panic attack. I think I'd be focused on defending myself, not attacking other people, especially when the conversations that I'm being asked to address are pretty simple. I feel as though it is a simple thing to say, yes, that was very disgusting and gross of me, and I did that a lot, and there are many instances where I did that, and I feel as though I could have looked past that somewhat if it A, hadn't happened so recently, and B, I'm thinking about the people in my life who were adult, who were around me in 2010, and I cannot remember a single instance where they were making jokes like that around me, where they were making jokes like that with me, that Shane Dawson was with people of a very similar age brackets, or if not younger, or making the jokes he made about, his pet. And when I think about, like, okay, who are the 20-somethings that I was around when I was 12, they weren't doing that. And they were pretty edgy, they were straight white people from the South, they were really fucking awful in 2010. So I feel as though I know what edgy jokes are. I feel as though I've experienced edginess many points in my life. And I think that there's a difference between edginess and crude, and to equate something like South Park or Family Guy in 2010 to that being the norm for entertainment for young folk is not fair, because of course young folk watched South Park and Family Guy. However, many of us weren't allowed to do that. Of course I watched it when I went to my older cousin's house. Does not mean, however, I think that there being a limitation on me watching it at home with adults around did in fact mean that there was a limitation on what was suitable for children. And Shane Dawson making videos with puppets and him knowing he was so popular with younger folk meant that there was some sort of either purposeful ignorance or something more sinister present. I'm sad because I see Ryland and I see Shane and I want to be happy for them. However, I just can't forget the moments where Shane would say things like putting Ryland in a diaper. It's fine to have a fetish, but I don't think that helps Shane's case whatsoever. Also, where have his friends gone? Where's Garrett been? Where has Drew been? Drew dropped off the face of the planet, and I think that does have something to do with Shane. I don't know. Also, I think the grossest thing to me is Shane saying that he is an empath and that he cares about people, and then actively using people like Bobby Burns for his own clout. And one could argue that was also in order to help Bobby garner clout. And I do think that might have been some of the intention behind it. However, with how quickly Shane dropped Bobby after the fan backlash and seeing where Bobby is today, I think that there is a disconnect between him being an empath and him allowing that to happen to someone who he actively participated in uprooting their life. You know what I mean? So that's just a few of my thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, share, check out my Twitter and Instagram. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.